Hey gang, hello again. Dan Nelson here, and I am continuing today with a little experiment, unrehearsed, so it could be a disaster, but I think it's going to be okay. A little experiment. My mind lately, I taught a class on Sunday, painting class. I'm going to be judging an art show in a couple days. And for that and a number of other reasons, my mind is very much on the subject of Pitscher, which, as you can see, I have misspelled there in the title, P-I-T-S-C-H, Pitscher. Pitscher versus painting. And I thought, well, yesterday, I was actually tempted to do to paint a picture. And forgive me, I know I mispronounced the word so that you know something's up. Something is amiss. Why does he keep mispronouncing that word instead of picture? A pitcher is something you pour milk out of. A picture is a photograph or a rendering picture of something. So, but I'm not saying either one of those. I'm saying picture. And as I went to great length yesterday evening. If you missed the first part, Daily Art Adventure 291, you might want to go back, especially if you're going to inclined to get kind of critical of the things I say today. Then, yeah, save your breath. Go back and watch yesterday's broadcast, in which I go to great lengths to say there's nothing wrong with painting pictures. Okay? Of course, before the invention of the camera, that is what most artists did. Let me repeat that. Before the invention of the camera, that was the artist's primary role on the planet, was to paint pictures. Now, I believe our role as human beings, artists, radically changed about 150 years ago. A little bit more than that, when the camera was invented. Us artists lost our job, the job we had had for millennia had been to be the cameras of the human race. Now that we have cameras, we don't have to do that anymore. And it's been a long and bloody struggle, one might say, to come out of the ancient world into the modern world. But I think it's been a good struggle. The fact that we don't have to be cameras anymore has released us artists to do something else. And I would summarize the entire lesson, artistic lesson of the entire 20th century. Let me say that again. I'm summarizing the artistic lesson of the entire 20th century as this: we ain't cameras anymore. Some subsets or corollaries thereof is we are free to move about the canvas. We are free to paint paintings. And but still, there's nothing wrong with still painting pictures. Anyway, I'm not going to repeat everything. I talked about this at length yesterday. And if you want to hear more about it, go back to yesterday. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here is a side-by-side comparison. This is the teacher in me working today. I'm trying to display or demonstrate the difference between a painting and a picture. Over here, you can see that I've got a little label here, picture. And I'm going to change this word, picture. Careful rendering of, I'm going to change this word, I said emotional, of an emotive scene. Careful rendering of an emotive scene. That is what a picture is. And that's what I'm working on. I've been painting this for about an hour and a half or 2 hours this morning. That is one of the issues about painting pictures. Generally speaking, they take a long time because you're essentially imitating a camera. You're trying to be sort of a camera. And again, please go back. Some of you want to say, no, no, no. Okay, no, save it, stuff it, save it, stuff it. I don't want to hear from you if all you're watching is today's broadcast. I talked for an hour and a half yesterday about that, said all kinds of good things about pictures, and I don't want to repeat them today. But I contend, generally speaking, that pictures have a limited shelf life. Among other things, they have limited appeal, limited shelf life, and so on, and so on, and so forth. Thank you. Colomami. Or is it Colomami? Forgive me, I know. If you want to try to give me a... Yeah, and as you can tell, I spent quite a bit of time with this tiny little brush. So what I'm doing over here, and still doing now, I wanted to bring you in for at least part of this. I've done most of this painting without your company, of course, but I want to bring you in for part of it. I've done a ton of what I call tongue painting. Why do I call it tongue painting? Because we go like this. I'm being funny, okay? And again, nothing wrong with tongue painting per se. I just think it doesn't elicit the greatest aesthetic response of which the viewer is capable. There are other things, if you will, other forms of painting that elicit a greater aesthetic response than painting a picture by means of tongue painting. Now, again, I'm going to try to do a good picture over here. It's not going to go down in the annals of art history as the greatest picture ever painted. No worry about that. But I'm trying to do a decent picture. I have many, many years of experience under my belt painting pictures. Before 15 years ago, before the age of 49, I painted virtually all pictures. Okay, so and I was a full-time artist for decades, and as an illustrator, and even on my own time for fun, I painted pictures. It was about 15 years ago, 2004, that for some reason a whole bunch of things came together. The planets aligned. The angels sang, I had an epiphany. And I went, oh my goodness. Now I finally get what all those messy painters are talking about. I finally get it. There's more power in a painting. Now this one's not done yet, of course. But there's more power in a painting than there is in a picture. Nothing wrong with painting pictures. But what I'm going to contend is this is going to pack more of a wallet than this. Okay, but I want you to just watch over my shoulder for a little while. I've gotten down, for the most part, I've gotten down to the foreground of this painting. Want you to join me, want you to be able to watch me paint, so I can talk to you about how it feels to paint pictures. Okay, I've been thinking about this quite a bit in the last hour and a half while I've been painting this picture. Here's how it feels to paint a picture. I'm having an imaginary dialogue with my viewers, the people that are going to be viewing my painting. And what I'm saying to them is things like, look at me, I can paint trees. Look at me, I can paint roofs. Look at me. I'm not trying to make a mockery here. I'm trying to give you a sense of childlike delight, which is authentic. I keep hearing from the Disney version of Winnie the Pooh, I keep hearing the little character Roo saying, "Look at me, I'm jumping. Look at me, I'm jumping." Some of you, if you know that Winnie the Pooh classic cartoon, that's the way I feel when I'm painting this. It's like, look at me, I'm painting a barn. Look at me, I'm painting a tree. Look at me, I'm painting clouds. Look at me, I'm painting a wall. Look at me, I'm painting a fence. Okay? And all those little chuckles, that's not mockery, that's little childlike delight. This is so fun. This is so fun. And it is fun. Don't get me wrong. And by the way, the ability to create illusion, visual illusion, is a very, what shall I say, intoxicating, empowering sensation. That's why I think every artist, even those of you who do not want to do hyperrealism, you should do at least one hyper-realistic painting or drawing in your life. And you can trace and project and, cheat any number of ways you want to, quote-unquote cheat, to get the drawing down, and then just grab your small brushes like I'm doing right here, stick your tongue out, and draw the heck out of that thing. Just draw. Why? Because it's very empowering. It is and then empowering is a good thing. I know that I have more skill in my little finger. I'm being a little bit nasty here, but I know that I have more skill in my little finger, exaggerating of course, than a whole army of modern art painters have. A whole army, whole entire classes of MFAs graduate every spring from our American universities, and I have more skill in one finger than they have in the whole graduating class. I'm being really nasty now, but I'm just saying that to make the point. What makes me feel that way? To a large extent, it's this right here. Look at me. I can draw a fence. Dang, I can draw a good fence. Look at me. I can draw trees. Dang, I can draw good trees. Look at me. I can draw clouds. Dang, I can draw good clouds. Are you with me? Now, as you know, I have, for as far as most of my career in the last 15 years, and I have, so to speak, abandoned the world of picture painting in favor of painting. But more about that later. I just want to talk about how it feels to be a good picture painter. And it's very empowering. And I think every artist, even the abstract artist, should take time out and do at least one empowering painting. Like I have a number of friends. I won't name them at the moment, but I have a number of friends who are abstract painters. And I love abstract painting. Let me qualify that. I love good abstract painting. There's a ton of it out there that is not good, but I love doing it. As you know, if you've followed me for any length of time, if you go back in my archives, 2 summers ago I did 250 abstract paintings in one summer. In fact, I did 100 abstract paintings in one weekend, partly to make a 4-day weekend. I did 25 paintings a day for 4 days in a row. And part of it was to make a point, which I made, therefore I don't have to do it again. And I'm thinking they were pretty good abstract paintings. Okay, so I like but anyway, I have friends who are abstract painters, and I like these people, and I like their abstract paintings. But often when they get around me, I feel like I sense a very slight, I don't know, inferiority, or like, well, Dan, it's obvious I'm not doing what you're doing. They would say something like that, or they say it with their eyes or their body language. They sort of acknowledge that they cannot do what I'm doing, and that's okay. But I would, if I could control their life a little bit, I would encourage each of those friends to take a week off and do whatever they need to do to cheat as much as they need to do a realistic painting. Because it's empowering. And I want them to have that intoxication of empowerment. I want all of you to have that sensation like, dang, I have power in my hands. That is how I feel. And it's to a large extent my ability to paint pictures to a larger degree, that gives me that sense of empowerment, that intoxication. Let me repeat, I want all artists to experience that sensation. I would like all of you. And then you can go back to your abstract or your impressionistic stuff. But I'd like you to hold your head up high and say, I have power in my hands. And the best way to feel that sensation is to paint a picture. Now, all of that, is that good praise? Is that high praise? Again, some of you who have criticized, thinking I'm criticizing picture painters. Okay, I hope you would say, no, that's pretty high praise. Dan just said everybody should be a picture painter at least once. That is correct. Okay, so right now I'm trying to say, look at me. I'm painting brown ground, with fall leaves on the ground with a road going through it. The road's not there very strongly yet, but it will be. I'm saying, look at me. I can draw shadows. I can draw the impression of shadows on an autumn landscape. The shadows down here, by the way, are of trees or things that are out of sight to our right. This is a very directional painting. The light is very strongly coming from the right. That it's not the way it is. By the way, I have a photograph right here. Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you, Kolomemi. Forgive me, I know I'm butchering your name. I agree with you. This weekend, again, I think I've got 3 shows in the near future that I'm going to be the judge, and almost all those shows, well, they actually include photography and painting and printmaking and drawing, abstract and representational. And I will make this little speech. I like judging shows because I like to say the things that I wish all judges would say when they judge my shows. I'd like them to explain themselves. All right, buddy, explain yourself. So I like explaining myself. And I'll give a little speech to the people who are doing abstract painting. I'll tell them I like abstract painting. And I will tell them that I do abstract painting. Oops, sorry, let me get back to my painting. And I will tell them that as a judge, I'm pretty hard on abstract painters because I feel like I can tell pretty much with a glance if you know what you're doing, if you know what the rules are. And if you think there aren't any rules, then you're probably not doing, every once in a while, somebody who doesn't know what they're doing in abstract painting, accidents will happen, right? Every once in a while, somebody will do a good abstract painting, but it's a real exception to the rule. Anyway, so that's all I had to say. I wanted you to know, in a sense, I wanted to say, how does it feel to do a painting? To do, again, and look at how I'm holding my brush. In my painting classes, I forbid my students, I try to forbid them from holding the brush in this manner. This manner is okay, but the death control grip. Okay, but here I am doing it, of course, because that's how you paint pictures. Another way to describe it is, I already alluded to this, I'm trying to imitate the activity of a camera. Now, obviously, I'm trying to not do a photorealistic painting. That would be hours and hours and hours and hours of time I don't want to spend. But in a sense, it's look at me, I can paint a barn. Look at me, I can paint grass. And I say that with pride and a degree of empowerment and confidence. Look at me, I'm good at painting barns. Okay, I'm nearly finished with this painting. I need to get the road back in here. It's going to be a light dirt-colored road that zigzags in. And then I'm going to start. I had to really change gears and go over and start working on the other version, this one right here. So I'll bring you back in a little while when I start working on that, or maybe to finish this up. Thanks for watching. I look forward to reading your chats. Hey, Karen. Sorry I missed you. I'm back. I took a little break there to get some things taken care of. Back ready. So, I have finished. Let me try to bring you in close. In fact, sorry, I'm going to give you a bit of a circus ride just for a minute. Hang on. Hang on, hang on. Sorry about all the jerking. So, not my family. Not my old... There we go. Okay, so there's my finished, more or less finished picture, which I've defined as picture, careful rendering of an emotive scene. I'm going to change the word from emotional to emotive scene. Careful rendering of an emotive scene. So with a picture, the thing that you're supposed to get is, oh, look at those barns, look at the trees, look at that sky, look at those clouds, look at that. Okay, now it still has elements of design, of course, and I tried to make it a good painting. It still has color, composition, all the abstract, but the point is, the image itself is more important than the abstract elements. I'm just going to leave it at that, okay? So now I'm going to be working on this, which is I've called painting, as opposed to a picture. And I'm having a hard time. Good, Karen, glad. Yeah, watch it full screen. I'm having a little bit of a hard time transitioning from this to this. I honestly am. I'm finding my brain is like stuck in Pictureville, and it's taken me so many years to get away from the impulse of doing pictures that my brain is a little bit stuck back there. So it might take me a minute to get into what I call painting mode. So the difference between, many differences, I've used many different words, I should say, not many differences. In a painting, the most important thing for the viewer to see in the painting is, get this, drum roll ready, the most important thing for the viewer to see is paint. That's right. The most important thing is paint. Whereas in a picture or a picture, either one, if I pronounce it rightly, the truth is still the same. In a picture, the most important thing for the viewer to see is stuff. Barns, trees, grass, sky, clouds, and so forth. Get it? And what's the difference? Well, I think that a good painting, now the challenge here is I've done a decent job over here on the picture. My challenge now is to do equally as good a job on the quote-unquote painting. I will tell you that just a few minutes ago, before I brought you on board, I began working on the painting. I glazed the entire canvas. This size is not that big a job. Glazed the whole thing with brown and blue. Then lifted out light areas. And this painting is already beginning to, can I use the word cohesion, come together, hang together, pull together. It's already beginning to pull together as a better and more dynamic composition than this. Now, you could say to me, yeah, but couldn't you have done the same light effects over here? And the answer is yes, I could. This is a little bit more realistic, though. The sun is hitting all the buildings. Here, in the painting, the sun is, in reality, in the photograph, the sun is hitting all the buildings. See? By the way, I've changed the lighting in both paintings significantly. But here, I've got this. Anyway, that's enough talking. Let's just paint, okay? So I just did a tiny bit of pencil. You saw me do that there. And I'm ready to go now to the final stage, which is light opaque highlights, or what recently I've called it light opaque highlights for years. Now in recent weeks I've started calling it final edit. Same process, just a different description. So my concern on this painting is certainly, I do want this to look like a red barn. You with me? But the red barn rendering is subservient, secondary to, in this case, red paint. The red paint is more important. It's more important that it look like paint than that it look like a barn. I think while I've got reddish stuff on my brushes, I'm going to go ahead and hit this more distant shed barn as well with a pale red. And as much as possible, I'm going to try to keep, the elements the same, so that it's a little bit oranges to oranges and not oranges to apples. So, this shed is a duller red than this one. I'm going to try to achieve the same thing here. But again, the more, so this painting, of course, is more abstract. Yes. I didn't say that, but I guess I felt like that goes without saying. This is going to be more abstract. In this painting, I want your brain, your mind, to finish the picture. Okay, hang on just a second. My man Doug is here with a question. Yes, sir. That's it.
So I should wait the 20 or 30 minutes before trying to shake it or clean it up?
Yeah, well, probably. Does it seem to be hard? You can start. Yeah, wait. Start on the other end of the doors. Start on the top of the bottom. I forget the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. While you're waiting. Sure. Yep. I know. One more thing. While I have red on my brushes. So if you want to see when I started these two paintings yesterday, Daily Art Adventure 391, you can go back and see me starting, and you'll notice that I did an underpainting in the sky of orange. That's why there's orange peeking around all these branches up here. And right now what I'm doing is a sweet little trick. Again, what I'm doing right now has nothing to do with realism. This is not a realism trick. This is a abstract design trick. But do pay attention. If you ever do a toned canvas technique, the most popular is where you paint the entire canvas vermilion, orange-red. Red-orange. Very, very traditional, and I enjoy that. And I, in a sense, that's sort of what I did in the sky here. I didn't do the whole canvas orange, but I did the top part. Then please take note of what I'm doing right now. If you do a toned canvas, then don't miss the opportunity to come back late in the process, as I'm doing right now, and do that same underpainting color on top. Because our eyes get a total kick out of being fooled or tricked or puzzled by what's on top of what, is how I usually say it. Our eyes enjoy the little momentary wiggle of confusion where our eyes are literally trying to figure out what paint is on top of what. And when you come back and do, like I've just done up here, orange, now I have orange that is underneath the blue and orange is on top of the blue, creating that little confusion. And again, that confusion is a pleasant thing. Not to the grumpy adult mind. It's a pleasant thing for the authentic childlike mind. I don't know if I need to explain that or not. The grumpy adult mind is it's not the mind we were born with. It's a mind that the world, hard knocks of the world, have beat into us, drowning out the innocent child. The grumpy adult mind just, things should be real, things should be realistic, things should be accurate, things should be accurate, things should be realistic. Do you hear that voice? That's the grumpy adult. When you ask the grumpy adult mind, what color are shadows? Gray. Shadows are gray. When you ask the grumpy adult mind, what color is grass? Green. Grass is green. Are you getting this? If you ask the grumpy adult mind, what color is? Stop talking to me. There. That's where it goes pretty quickly, because the grumpy adult mind is grumpy. It's concerned with law and order, and it doesn't want to be confused at all. But that's not your authentic mind. That's the broken mind. Your authentic mind is the innocent child that looks through eyes Now, if you ask a child what color is grass, he'll say green, or she will say green too. But that's a different issue. That's for a different reason. He'll say that. The child will say that. If you could talk to the innocent mind, child mind, the innocent child mind looks out through the eyes without a filter, so to speak. The innocent child mind does not filter everything. It sees things as they really are. And I'm getting way too deep for my own good, so I'm going to leave it right there. Now, I did this roof orange because it already was sort of orange. I'm not sure that it's going to stay that color. It's done for the moment. I'm going to leave it for the moment. But I suspect, well, I know I'll be coming back at least and doing some lighter orange on top of that. That's pretty standard operating procedure. In this painting, in the painting as opposed to the picture, in the painting process, I'm responding with much more immediacy. I'm responding to what's already on the canvas. Again, it's not the grumpy adult mind at work. It's the innocent child mind at work. The grumpy adult mind, here's what the grumpy adult mind says. It looks at this photograph and says, look, barn's white, barn's white. And forgive me, I'm going to say a bad word, okay? Barn's white, damn it. Okay? Because that's how the grumpy adult mind thinks. And that is not the mind out of which you should paint. I hope that's obvious. And yet, the reason I'm going on about this is because that's what a lot of people do. Okay. Now, they're not usually very good artists, but some do paint out of that mind. So when I'm painting this, I'm responding much more to what's already on the canvas. Over here on the other painting, I was copying or trying to paint trees. So like here's some tree stuff. Now I don't know how all these colors got in here, frankly, but I sure am glad they did, because I sure do like them. And right now I'm just mixing up some colors that are approximately related to what's already there, and I'm just accentuating those colors a little bit. I may be done with those trees right there. Leaving. Okay, let me go back to another. When I was painting the picture over here, if you were watching me just a little while ago, I was saying, here's how it feels to paint a picture. Okay? Here's what my brain is, here's what my mind, my inner dialogue, my inner talk is saying when I'm painting a picture. It's saying, look at this, I can paint barns. A few minutes later, oh, this is cool. I can paint trees. Watch me paint trees. Watch me paint trees. Oh my goodness, watch me paint trees. A few minutes later, oh, this is so much fun. Watch me paint driveway. Watch me paint tracks. Oh, mechanic, and I paint tracks. Whoa, you just watch. Are you with me? I know I'm being silly dramatic, and if you don't like my channel, you're not going to be here very long because I get goofy. To make the point, of course. So the inner dialogue over here is, doggone it, watch this, watch this. Watch me paint a tin roof, right? Over here, on the other hand, right now at the moment, I am painting a tin roof, but that is not what my brain is saying, okay? At the moment, my brain is saying, whoa, let's see if I can make a really, really interesting mark. Let's see if I can create interesting variety of stroke and texture. Let's see if I can lay down a stroke of paint that is just to die for, using the vernacular. Okay? Let's see if I can just put down a stroke that, what would happen if I made this stroke, which this is actually one, what would happen if I made this part right here a little bit redder? You see, the thought of adding red to this has nothing to do with the photograph that's up here. Does that make sense? This is not, the grumpy adult mind does not say, hey, what would happen if we added red? No, the grumpy adult mind says, doggone it, that roof is supposed to be white. Here's the picture. With me, gray. That roof's supposed to be gray. But the innocent childlike brain says, wonder what would happen. Wonder what would happen if I made this roof orange instead of gray. No. I'm going to confuse some of you with that line of thought. Okay, this is not to be confused with untethered, undisciplined creativity, which is characteristic of all. Now, you know it's not a true statement because I said all, and there's no such thing as all. But anyway, virtually all, which is a characteristic of virtually all young artists, is untethered creativity. Hey, what would it look like if we hung a dead rat on this canvas? Are you with me? That's art school talk. What would happen? Hey, let's put a naked woman in there. Yeah. Oh, no, let's not paint naked. Well, let's actually get one of our... Anyway, do you hear me? Very immature. Very, very, very... the word is sophomoric because they're sophomores. That's not true. That's kind of a joke. Not a very good one, but it's a joke nonetheless. So the painterly mind is concerned with abstract issues. Hey, I wonder what it would look like if I did blank. Wonder what it would look like if I did thus and so. Man, I really want to make a great stroke here. I'm sure I want it to look like a barn. You can tell I want that to look like a barn, can't you? But the barnness of it is very much secondary. You see, the barn in this painting is simply an excuse for showing off my handling of the abstract elements of design. Got it? And no, I am not criticizing people who choose to paint pictures for their whole career. I mean, good grief. First of all, as I said a while ago, until I was 49 years old, that's virtually all I did. I painted pictures. Norman Rockwell, Thomas Kincaid, of course. In fact, that is the rap that most serious artists, and I don't agree. I'm one of the few serious artists who will actually say very good things about Thomas Kincaid. It used to be a lot more fun to talk about him when he was living than it is now. Hang on a second. Thomas Kincaid, when he painted, he was concerned primarily with the objects in his picture. Now, he was a very good painter. I don't want to hear any rolling of the eyes. As I say to my students all the time, you can roll your eyes at Thomas Kincaid when you are a better painter than he is. Now, there are better painters than he is, but none of them come to my classes. You follow me? And who knows, but the cosmos put him on our planet at the time that it did so that he could do exactly what he did. So I do not go along with the snobbery. But the rap against Thomas Kincaid painting is this very thing, that he painted pictures. sentimentality more than the abstract elements of the image. Okay, I'm going to get off Thomas Kincaid for the moment. I hope, again, I'm doing this series. I started last night. I'm doing this in hopes of using this little broadcast last night and today so that I can send students to this broadcast, because the great majority of people who come to my classes, what they want to do, because they don't know any better, what they want to do is paint pictures. As I said to a friend of mine who was here a few minutes ago, that most of them would give their, well, not their right arm, they'd get, because then they couldn't paint. Most of them would give their left arm to be able to paint a picture as purty as that. The only thing worse than a picture is a purty picture. Oh, I'm getting more snarky as the day goes on, aren't I? Most of my students would give their left arm to paint a picture that purty, because that's what they want to do. And what I'm trying to do here is convince them that they are striving in the wrong direction. They're going as hard as they can down the wrong path. Okay? So that's why I'm doing this little demo of picture versus painting, so I can use it as an example. And again, nothing wrong with doing purty pictures. My point is that the painting, if it's done well, has a bigger and more universal and more long-lasting aesthetic punch. Okay? Have I made that clear enough? I hope I have. Don't tell me I'm criticizing artists who paint pictures. That's, if you say that, you're just not paying attention to what I'm saying. Okay? I alluded to this earlier. I for some reason have some kind of epiphany. I don't even know how it happened exactly. It came in stages, but I did have some kind of epiphany about 15 years ago that's transitioned me from painting pictures to painting paintings. Some light bulbs really came on in my mind, and I began to see things that I hadn't seen before. And that's the passion out of which I speak. And of course, as you know, I very snobbishly call this over here, I call this often real painting. Okay, and I know that's a snobby, judgmental term. But I rest my case to a large degree on the long look of history. I'm going back to the 15, 16, 1700s for sure, 1800s for sure. The great, great painters throughout history. There were a lot of picture painters, but most of them now, we honor them for their place in history, but we don't cry in front of their paintings, as we say we might in front of a Rembrandt. It's a little embarrassing. Will you bear with me for a minute while I am rather embarrassingly honest with you, because I've shared this before, but it was a couple years ago now. I actually was just looking at, I was doing something, I was downstairs, I remember where I was exactly, I was downstairs in my painting studio, and I was looking for something online, and I was looking at Rembrandt portraits. And I've seen a lot of Rembrandt paintings. I'm a self-confessed card-carrying Rembrandt worshiper. And suddenly a portrait of an old woman or a woman came up on the screen. And here's the embarrassing part, but I'm sharing it with you to make the point. I literally, I will say I burst into tears. Now, that I don't mean I started boo-hooing. No. That would not be accurate. What is accurate is tears sprang into my eyes, and I had what best can be described as a transcendent moment, a transcendent experience. It was breathtaking. You can't recreate those events. You can't say, okay, well, show me that painting and I'll do it. No, 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 no. I'm sure there were a whole lot of things that converged in that moment to create that moment. I was totally taken aback, totally surprised by what hit me. And so that's what I call real painting. Realism, can this stuff put a tear in your eye? Yes, it can. Okay, let me be fair. Yes, it can. Man, I've talked myself into a corner. There's something, okay, let me get more technical just for a minute. I'm trying to get myself out of this pickle that because I've just said, oh, wait a minute. This stuff can make you cry too. Okay, I think part of the reason why paintings, I call this a painting, call this a picture. There's a reason why paintings last where pictures don't. And it has to do with integrity. Funny word, you didn't expect me to say that, did you? Has to do with integrity. Now, I don't mean like the artist is a liar or cheats on his wife or his income tax. No, that's not what I'm talking about. The integrity of which I speak is the integrity of the cosmos. If you listen to me long, you'll find out that that's one of my favorite words. I'm a cosmic thinker. The integrity of the cosmos. Here's what I mean. With this painting, there's paint on the canvas, right? Paint on the canvas. I just put it there. Acrylics, then oils. But the canvas is saying to the viewer, I'm a picture. I'm a picture. I'm a picture of a farm. I'm a picture of barns in autumn with water in the tracks. I'm a picture. I'm a picture. Now, is this a picture? Literally, if we took it to a chemist and said, analyze this, what is it? The chemist would say, this is oil paint. Check. This is paint pretending to be a picture. This painting, on the other hand, is saying, I am paint. I am paint. I am paint. If we took this to the chemist's shop and said, tell us what this is, he wouldn't say, oh, it's a barn and sky and trees. No, he would say it's paint. It's oil paint. He could tell us what all the ingredients were. He could say it's safflower oil. It's, a little bit of liquid, blah, 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 blah. It's all, he'd give us a chemical. He would say it's paint. This is a painting pretending to be a painting. This is a painting pretending to be a picture. Lack of integrity. I know that's weird. That's why I think this will stand the test of time if I do a good job. And I don't mean that this particular painting is going to be, in the hallowed halls of anywhere in millennia to come. That's ridiculous. I'm not visions of grandeur. But this style of painting where the painting is not pretending to be anything besides paint. There's an integrity about this that is lacking over here. Doesn't mean this is bad. And of course, it's not a sinful, it's not an evil lack of integrity. It just is what it is. This is paint pretending to be, and there's something fun about that. There's something very fun about that. But I think that's one of the fundamental differences between these two things, paintings and pictures. The painting is pretending to be paint. The picture is paint pretending to be a picture. Whew. Now, that is not the last word by any means. I have friends who are exquisitely gifted and talented, more famous than me, and make more money than I. I never tell you guys how much money I make, and I'm not going to. I'll just say I'm doing okay. For an artist, I'm doing really okay. Okay? For not being a hit the big time kind of artist, just your regular, struggling in the trenches kind of artist, I'm doing okay. In fact, I was reminded of that last week when I went to my tax accountant, because he said, dang, you made a lot more money this year. I went, oh no. Which means I got to come up with a lot more money tomorrow to send to Uncle Sam. Some of you are saying, wait, it's May 30th. How come you're paying your taxes tomorrow? Because I have a really good accountant, and he files an extension for me without me even asking. That's the kind of tax preparer an artist needs. I called him a week before April 15th. Said, David, I ain't gonna need an extension. He said, already did it. Happiness is having an accountant who knows you. Hallelujah. Okay, but payday I have to pay it anyway. Anyway, how did I get on that? So I made more money last year. So anyway, I have artist friends who are very good, very skillful, richer than I am, more famous than I am, who paint pictures to beat the band. So, all the time while I'm saying this, I've got the ghost of like David Stickle listening. If some of you know David Stickle, you can tell him that we're talking anti-trash about him. We're talking good about him over here. Great guy, wonderful guy, fabulous painter, watercolor, fabulous painter. And he does not subscribe to exactly to my school of thought, if you will. So there you go. I'm not trying to give you the last word. I'm just giving you where I'm at right now. I think I'm right. I think I'm right with all these ramblings, but I'm still going. Okay. But I believe it strongly enough that I'm going to try to influence other people, my students, to move away from pictures and to move toward painting. Okay, right now I've got a dull bluish gray on my brushes, as you can see, and I'm painting the dark side, the shady side, I should say, the shaded side of this shed. Shaded shed. And as you can see, my goal, I just scumbled it in real lightly, or did a translucent layer of this blue-green so that the underneath dark brown orange underneath peeks through the blue and gives our eyeballs just a little millisecond of wee because of the layer. See, that is not a, I'm not doing that for realistic purposes. I'm not doing that layered look so that it looks realistic. No, I'm doing that layered look so that it looks cool. Does that make sense? Okay. I'm probably talking you guys to absolute distraction. I wish you would shell up and paint. I hear you. I hear you. This was a happy little accident. Bob Ross's best word, by the way. The fact that I put red down there, and then I painted, not thinking, I painted this red, orange, and said, oh, wait, now. So it does look like reflection of that. Boom. That did not come out of my grumpy adult brain. That did not come out of my careful forethought and careful planning. No, that was just an accident that came out. I love it when that happens. While I'm talking your ear off, let me... Why stop now? Are you sure you don't got another verse in him? Yes, I do. Here it is. Here's the next verse. Okay, while I'm talking, again, trying to describe to you and to myself what's the difference. One of the epiphanies that struck me about 15 years ago was this. I was painting in this style over here. I was a inveterate picture painter until my late 40s, early 50s. I was a picture painter. But in the course of painting pictures, in fact, I have the painting that I'm about to tell you about in my attic behind me. It makes me think that might be fun to show you guys. I could show you the stroke, the very stroke that I made when this light bulb, when this epiphany happened, when this light bulb came on. Okay, I'll describe the light bulb though. I was painting pictures. In fact, in this case, it was essentially a fantasy, not a wild, crazy, but castles and mountains and landscape kind of stuff, which I still enjoy. I just enjoy the heck out of that story. I call it storytelling art. And again, Nothing wrong with storytelling art. You just got to know where it fits in. And as I was painting, I made a stroke. And I went, oh, that stroke was beautiful. I didn't do it on purpose. It just happened. It happened while I was trying hard to do something else. That is, I wasn't trying to make a beautiful stroke. I was just painting something, and this beautiful stroke came off my brush. I learned at that moment that the best painting, really the best painting happens when you're trying to do something else. Oh, as a matter of fact, I have another painting that I don't have to go to the attic for. Stay right there with me for just a minute. Let me go back here. I have a painting on my wall. So this is a painting from about 15 years ago. This is when I was going through, I better move this so I don't have this creating a big mess. When I was going through my transition from painting pictures to painting paintings. Now I'm going to pick you up and give you a rocky ride, so bear with me for just a moment. Okay, this is a view of downtown Raleigh. It's very realistic as far as the buildings go, and I called it, what, 3 towers? I can't remember what it's called, but this is one of our bank buildings. Beautiful rendering of our bank building. This is an old building, and you can see this is a traditional paint. It's not the way I paint anymore. But there were several strokes that happened that I remember in this painting, and I'm going to show them to you one at a time. Try to get you so close. Can you see up here the brown that escaped into the sky? Do you see that? Yeah, you got that. Here's another one. Do you see the white here? Right here? That escaped into the sky? Yeah. Those were accidents. Those were mistakes. I didn't do that. Now, after I did it a couple times, then I started doing it on purpose down here. So again, this is a 15-year-old painting. This was me discovering that the best painting happens when you're trying to do something else. This stroke was an accident. After I saw it, after I put it there. Oh, by the way, these clouds were, before this time, I used to paint my clouds realistic. And I'll show you that in a minute. But this is a slightly unrealistic cloud. It's brush strokes. This is me 15, 16 years ago, 17 maybe, transitioning from painting pictures to painting paintings. This is right in the transition. I remember distinctly seeing this mark and going, oh, how did that happen? And it was, let me point this at me myself for just a minute. So it was in one of those moments when here is the adage, the old saying that I've made up. Let me sit this painting down over here. It is, the best painting happens when you're trying hard to do something else. Now, I don't mean when you're trying hard to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's not what I mean. The best painting happens while you're painting, but you're not trying to make that mark. You're doing something else, and the mark happens accidentally. Bob Ross's Happy Little Accidents. Are you with me? And for some reason, even though I probably heard things like that for years before that time, for some reason, the truth, the reality of that statement went from my shallow head to my deep soul. I went, wait a minute. If the best painting happens by accident, then why don't I start painting all accidents? Are you with me? And if you've been to one of my painting classes, you might have, or if you follow my videos, that's a big step of the day that my painting changed. Because the truth, the reality, best painting happens when you, Tom Jones, watercolor teacher, says, let the paint be paint. The paint is smarter than you are. He says, he says brush or paint, both are true. He says, the brush is smarter than you are. Let the brush do brushy things that don't come out of here, that just come off the brush. Same exact reality. This is the truth that good painters, painters, not picture painters, painters. This is the truth that good painters, Rembrandt, John Singer Sargent, ad nauseum. It's the truth that they know. Don't paint out of control freak center of your brain. Let the brush, let the paint do stuff. You end up then with transcendent images, not predictable images. And again, I have the ghost of David Stickle. David, if you ever hear this, I love you, man. And you know what you mean. You know what I mean, because he's a. By the way, I use David Stickle. You can just Google him, Stickel. I use him whenever I run into anybody. Whenever I'm judging, I'll be judging a show this Sunday. I said that too many times the last day. Forgive me, but it's much in my mind because it's a big deal for me. I will probably tell the realist painters there, listen, if you're going to do realism, don't do 99.9% realism. Man, if you're going to do realism, you go all the way. Don't stop 1 inch short of the finish line of the marathon. You do realism. And that's what I point to David Stickle. Was that he doesn't do 99.8% realism. He does 100%. It's breathtaking. And I think if you're going to do realism, you kind of owe it to your audience to go all the way. See, I'm not doing realism in either of these. Okay, I ramble enough. I hope that's instructive. Let me get back to painting now. Hope it's also slightly entertaining, if not completely entertaining, at least somewhat entertaining. Let's go back to painting. I'm getting a little bit happy about this painting. And can you see them both side by side? Yeah. Let me expand. There. Nice picture. Granted, I'm not saying it's like the best picture in the whole world, but it's a pretty good picture. Good enough. Good enough I could do for this unrehearsed little exercise. But I do think this is packing a punch that this is not. So I think I'm pretty happy with the way this little unrehearsed demo is showing up. There are surprises happening all over this canvas. Colors, textures, values, brush strokes. I'm going to do one right here. I did the same trick over here on the picture. I'm going to do that again. Very light paint right there, and then there we go. There we go. See, it's more interesting. It's more important that be interesting than that it be realistic. Again, the grumpy adult brain could be saying, "What's that supposed to be? What's that supposed to be? Is that supposed to be grass? What's that supposed to be?" And I know I'm being silly. I'm being silly because I'm hoping, truly hoping that you're getting the point. The points. Some of you are groaning, say, "All right, already. Would you please stop saying that stuff?" We got the points. Okay. No. That's not how it works on YouTube. As soon as you get tired of me, you just leave. You don't need permission to leave. You just do it. But somebody out there needs to hear all this stuff, so I hope you're listening. I'm going to come in here and do some... I've lost my path in this painting. Over here, there's this nice road. There's almost a road here, but I'm not going to come in and try to make it happen. I feel like that would be arm wrestling the image a little bit too much. So I'm just going to let it go at that. I am going to do some of the same trick in these branches up here that I did in the picture. I'm mixing up now a dark, I do want to come in here and do just, whoops, that's too strong. Sorry. Too fat. See, holding a brush just as lightly as I can, I'm still making marks that are darker, fatter than I want. Just a little bit. And if I do this, I really should come back and do some blue in between these branches one more time, and I think I will do that. Let me do some branches hanging down in front of this roof and in front of this one. Okay, now at this point, I think it's a good time for me to end this exercise. I will post this image on my YouTube and on Facebook so you can see the finished comparison. I hope this has been fun, and I hope it's been instructive for somebody that needed to hear all that ranting and raving. Okay? Thanks for following me. Thanks for subscribing and commenting. And I might be back later today. Not really sure. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.